All right, this is Food, Fitness, and Fun with Dre and J.D. This is officially episode dos, episode 2. Microwaves.
That's like the loudest microwave, man. Everybody
in
that
history. That microwave was
old.
like T-9, 8, 7.
We get,
like, oh, this missile is launching now.
Right.
Yes.
If we get time, because I noticed you had something about vaccinations and stuff on there, which is something I want to talk about. So if we get time towards the end, we can talk about how a friend of mine, who's no longer a friend of mine, would hear my microwave when I put it on and would get super upset because she was super against the microwave. Yeah,
we don't gotta. We could go in whatever order we want. You could start with the vaccination shit. Go ahead, go through.
No, it's all good. It's just that So I guess we're starting with food. So let's do it. You know what I'm saying? Because the whole shit is food, fitness, and fun. And I see you have fasting there. But so just on the side note, so some people don't use their microwave or don't buy microwaves because they feel that it's unnatural. Right?
And emitting a lot of radiation into the body, which we shouldn't be doing.
Yeah, microwaves are emitting radiation, and, people have these weird myths. It's like gamma rays.
You're going to turn into the Incredible Hulk?
Right. It's nuclear. It's so horrible for you. Don't eat anything that comes out of a microwave.
But go to McDonald's.
Yeah, not even just go to McDonald's. Just keep your fucking cell phone near and close to your body.
At all times.
Admitting, and some people forget all these antennas that's in there. I know some women take their phone and put it on their titties and shit. And walk around. So, it's weird when I see people say that because it's like, well, you got your phone in your pocket near your ovaries and shit. Right. All right. Whatever. But let's talk about the microwave real quick because what is the microwave? Well, what happens in a microwave? It's not this weird fucking science. The only thing it's doing is making the microbes in your food, the molecules, rub together really quickly. Yeah, I'm about to do it. Yeah, rub together really quickly, create friction, and create heat. And it gets ready. So my thing is, tell me the difference between a microwave and fire. You know what I'm saying? Because what does fire do? You put something in a pot, you put it on your stove, and what does it do? The fucking molecules in whatever it is that you're cooking begin to rub together really, really rapidly, and that creates heat. It's just that the microwave is doing it electronically, through microwaves. That's why I have that name. That those waves are forming that, and the fire is doing it conventionally or slowly. Right. So I just don't understand why people have this. Some people have this oh my God, don't use microwaves. It creates horrible things, and no. If you don't want to use it, don't use it. You don't feel like it's your fucking world. Do what the fuck you want to do. But don't misunderstand how a microwave works. It's creating heat. It's another unit, a box that creates heat. No different than when motherfuckers discovered that fire can do the same thing to whatever it is you put the fire to. You put it to water, put molecules in the water, you start to move very rapidly, that creates heat, and your shit boils, So I just wanted to get that out there.
Well, now listen, son, go through. Let them know, son. This is for the microwave haters.
Calm down.
Yeah, listen, I think it goes back to the conversation from last week about options, right? My thing is, in this beautiful country, if you don't want to use a microwave, you don't have to. That's all. You know what I'm saying? Listen, if you anti-microwave, that's all good, baby. Throw that shit on the stove and take 20 minutes to heat up your food. It's all good.
But my thing is this, it's because it's new technology that people can look at it and be like, oh, that's some bullshit. But I'm sure the first person who discovered fire, the other people around them was like, you gonna put fire to your food? You crazy. You're weird.
Right.
You know?
You mean you're not gonna eat this? You're not gonna eat this gazelle raw?
Raw, right? Exactly. Like that's how we get down. You're crazy. You know, that's unnatural. That's devilish that you're putting fire to food. In fact, there's some Rastas who don't believe in Jamaica, who don't believe in putting fire to their food. There's people right now who are raw vegan, right? Not only are they vegan, but they don't believe in putting any fire to your food. You know, I heard so many Jamaican vegans who just like, eat fire, man. Me don't eat fire. You know, it's just like, that's what they're saying. It's like, I will never put fire to what I eat because they believe in eating stuff raw.
Right, they're on the raw
now,
diet for real.
Yeah, you want to, like, there's a lot of people who do that in terms of they feel it's going to be more nutritious for them. What's the dude, I'm about to say it right now, because I saw his special on Men's Health, and his daughter is, Kravitz. Come on, was it something?
Lenny Kravitz?
Lenny Kravitz, right? Lenny Kravitz, that's his thing. He don't,
oh yeah?
He eats like vegan, raw food. You know, he'll use a refrigerator, but he won't use fire. You know,
interesting.
It is interesting because if you understand how a refrigerator works, there's a lot of heat that is made in terms of the compressor to keep that refrigerator cold. But it's all good.
My nigga, it's not fire, so it's not equivalent.
Right, and so, you know, like you're saying, man, it's like, all right, you want to live your life like that, that's what's up. But technically speaking, scientifically speaking, there's no difference, you know, or you get no, like, super health benefits because you don't want to warm your food up or you only eat stuff that's room temperature. Like, whatever the fuck, I don't know. Shit is crazy.
It is crazy. And I think it's all very interesting because I think it all is about perspective. Because I was doing research on raw foods. It's interesting that you bring that up. I'm doing some research on raw food diets and raw foods and what people believe are the benefits and how altering molecules and altering our food via compressors like food processors or oven or a blender or a juicer, how each one changes certain things about your food and the benefits of each one. And it's really interesting to see exactly what you're saying, these perspectives about how people view the raw food diet. Like you said, there's some cats who's like, no fire, no alterations at all. I just straight up eat raw foods. Straight up bite everything and go in. You know what I'm saying? I'm just chewing raw vegetables and fruits. And then there's other cats, like, cats who do the juicing, they compress through the juicer and they intake that way. And, for a long time, I've been doing smoothies and now I'm fucking with smoothie bowls heavy right now. And it's interesting that, cats have a lot of different perspectives. And once you believe in something, you start going hard. You know what I'm saying? It's like anything in life, religion, food, the way you date, sex, monogamy, whatever, politics. Once you believe in something, you go hard and try your best to uphold those beliefs. And I know that that's our nature as humans, but I just think perspectives have to be taken in, and I think perspectives are important to gain. I think that a lot of times we kind of have tunnel vision, like what you said about the cats with the microwaves. And when we get to vaccine talk, it'll be the same there too. We kind of have this tunnel vision, and we get locked in these views. But I think that what's more important is kind of taking in other perspectives, right? So like if I'm anti-microwave or anti-vaccine, and you come to me with some information then I think that, cats should look at that information. Like, give it a second. Like, I could be anti-microwave and you bring some information to me and it's like, oh, so it's not like a mini nuclear bomb in my food. It's like, no, look, this is the data and this is this. And then you could say like, oh, that's a really interesting perspective. I never thought of that, because we get locked in these tunnel vision thoughts where it's like, nah, son, fuck that. I ain't never using the motherfucking microwave. And should nobody using the motherfucking microwave. It's like, well, maybe you should. Maybe you should look up why you should not or should use a microwave. And so that's it. I just think that perspectives are really interesting, and to me, that's one of the most intriguing things about everything that we're going to be talking about moving forward on these podcasts. That a lot of shit is kind of like your perspective, your style, your views, and how you kind of alter things based on the goals you create along with those things. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of times we form goals around it. If you're anti-microwave, then your goal is to not use a microwave. You know what I mean? You will go to a party or whatever and niggas be like, yo, I'm going to throw this rice and beans in the microwave for you, nigga, because you showed up half hour late. Like, nah, I don't use microwave. That's going to be your goal. Your goal is like, it don't matter where I'm at, I ain't using the microwave. Same thing. If it's vaxxed or not vaxxed, it's the same shit. It's like, well, I ain't fucking with niggas who's not vaxxed. It's like, okay, then your goal is to only go to spots where cats are vaxxed. Or, not vaxxed, whatever. So, I just think as humans, we have tunnel vision too often and don't take in these other perspectives. And I think that it's important that we do. So it's really intriguing to me that you said that about Lenny Kravitz. I definitely want to check that out. But I was doing research on raw foods because the smoothies and the smoothie bowls are a form of the raw food diet, and for a while, it's been years now, but at one point, I know you remember, that's all I was doing. I was doing like 2 smoothies a day and 1 meal. And then another time it was like, I'm kind of basically just juicing and then I have 1 meal. And even now, where I mostly do intermittent fasting, I try to at least 3 days a week make one of those meals during intermittent fasting a smoothie or a smoothie bowl. So I really do fuck with the raw foods diet, and I do think like the less we alter our food, the better. But I microwave shit all day. Like sometimes I don't have 40 minutes to heat up my pasta and veggies that I made.
Right.
I'd rather just throw that shit in the microwave for 3 minutes. So I think it's interesting, and I think that although this started as a food conversation, I think that a lot of it has to do with mentality and how we embrace other people's perspectives. And I think that matters a lot in 2021 because we just had a president with a very specific perspective. We just had a large presidential run and debate and all that presidential election stuff based on a lot of very specific perspectives and beliefs. And even now in 2021, when it's like, Biden is the great white hope with the most colorful cabinet in history, I think a lot of things are being done off of perspectives. And I think that when we get other perspectives, when we look outside ourselves and try to look at things from multiple perspectives, to me, that's when you kind of elevate consciously, because you bring in all these other things. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I just think that it's all about how people put it out there. Because getting back to the food stuff, it's like people are putting it out there like, well, this is healthier. You know what I'm saying? Like, you are taking years off your life. You're not eating the way I'm eating. If you're not exercising the way I'm exercising. You see what I'm saying? And so that whole thing with the heat or eating raw food is like, well, like you just said, we don't want to mess with the natural molecular form of this food. And so, there's this belief that in this form, it's its healthiest. Once you put heat to it, you've manipulated it, and now it can't give you all the nutrients that you want. So it's a perspective, And that's where, people come in with all kind of marketing teams, because even with the smoothies now, right? The newer thing is cold press juices, cold press.
Yep.
So it's like, we're trying to make sure we don't put any heat on it because we use cold press, so we get all the nutrients, and it becomes like this marketing thing. And I think it's more a robust conversation if you could actually say, okay, wait a second. Where is this coming from? Is there some science? There's some studies? Is this something that says, oh yeah, fire damages something somewhere? Because really what we're really saying is one's particular taste, and not that something is actually more beneficial or less beneficial. It's all about what you're trying to get. We all know what a slow cooker is, right? It's like certain things. It's like, man, if you cook this thing slow, if you let it marinate for 12 hours, 24 hours, whatever, you're going to get a different taste than if you just throw it in the microwave, right? It's like, it might taste a little bit better because we allowed the heat to slowly build up, and you get a different taste. I'm like, oh, okay, that's what's up. But to say that, well, if you don't do it the way I'm doing it, then you're not getting the most health benefits from it. I think that's a little bit far-fetched, and that's when we get caught in the woods. And also that's when we make ourselves victims to dumbass marketing. Right. Because people come in with these marketing schemes and just be like, do it this way because, this is the best way to do it.
Right. According to our sponsors.
Right.
It's like, according to our sponsors, you know what I'm saying? Did you see the John Oliver shit where he actually was just talking about that?
Which one is this?
John Oliver just did one on sponsored content, and it's like how you could get all types
of I didn't see that.
Oh, son, it's crazy fly. He basically, John Oliver is great. I love him. I know you do too. And his latest one, or maybe he put out a new one now. I don't know. But anyway, the last one I saw is called Sponsored Content. And he's basically speaking about how you get almost anything on the news because of you just pay for it. And he did
that.
so he put.
I saw that.
Yeah.
I saw that. Yeah.
It was awesome. According to this fake ass shit we made up, this blanket increases your sexual stuff, and it's like healing ladies. He just made up a bunch of shit, and he was on like 3 or 4 different news platforms.
Right.
And on some according to our sponsor shit. But I think it's really interesting what you said. I think that one of the things that we're forgetting in the internet age, in the age where data reigns supreme, is data.
Right.
It's like there's so much data available, and our phones live in our hands, but we don't follow the data. It's like, all right, Dre says thing X is good. I disagree. It's like, okay, well, let's go online and see what data we can find from trusted sources. And it's like, nah, but on this channel, they said that. Or my favorite celebrity said this. It's like, but who gives a fuck? What does the data say? And I think that especially the president that just left office, I think that he proved to me, anyway, that society really don't give a fuck about data. They just want some take shit at face value. It's like, oh, okay, so, well, Andre said 1, 2, and 3. And Jonathan said 4, 5, and 6. So that's it. It must be true. And it's like, son, like, you watch that press conference on your phone. You watch that snippet on your phone. You didn't think to take that same phone with those same thumbs that you were scrolling with? You ain't think to use those same thumbs to just look up some of that shit?
Yeah.
No. It's crazy. Like, I can't tell you the number of phone calls I've received in the last year and a half where people are just spewing out shit that they saw or heard. Not even that they saw. Just like, well, Dre told me that pigs could fly now. I'm like, okay, who gives a fuck what Dre said? Like, did you look it up? Did you
that's what makes
did you check any of that shit out? Like,
no,
I didn't. No, I didn't. But Dre said it. Why would Dre lie? And I'm like, because Dre has agendas And like, do I have to quote Dark Knight to you?
Yeah, it's like, but that's what makes Donald Trump the master manipulator, because he knows that people are much like themselves, meaning that you could just put something out there. Most people are not going to do the work of digging and finding out. I mean, and I think that the best example is when he was going up for his first impeachment, and, you know, obviously he called it a witch hunt. But what was interesting about that was he was telling everyone, read the transcript, you know, because they had transcribed this whole conversation. He's like, yo, it was the perfect phone call. Read the transcript. Yo, read the transcript. And so he said, read the transcript so much, you got people
Nobody read it.
People walking around going, yeah, people need to read the transcript. Read the transcript. You know this dude, Klepper? He's down with, and he has this whole thing like Klepper, like fingers, the pulse of whatever. Yeah, he makes like a fun, but he went around to these Trump rallies, and all these people are talking about read the transcript, read the transcript. So he's like, okay, so did you read the transcript? Oh no, I didn't read it, but you know, it's like, okay, go to the next person. Okay, I know that you're saying read the transcript. Did you read the transcript? Well, no, I didn't read it. So how are you walking around telling people they should read the transcript? And all of y'all telling each other to read the transcript, yet no one has read the transcript. Because people are not going to do work. And Klepper was like, well, I did read the transcript.
Right. And this is what it says.
And it's fucked up. Like, he obviously was doing the things that they are purporting that he did, that which was illegal. So I read the transcript, and that's why I know what he said and did is illegal. So him talking about it was a perfect call, read the transcript, wasn't really telling people to read the transcript. It's funny. It was just putting another slogan out there because he knows people like fucking slogans and they don't want to do the fucking work.
Yep. Absolutely. Yeah. And you know, that takes me back to a conversation I had years ago about the 9/11 Commission report. And we don't got to stay here. I don't, you know, this ain't the politics podcast. But it was the same thing when it was like, yeah, man, but the 9/11 Commission report says this, but the 9/11 Commission report says that. And I said to this person, but have you ever read the 9/11 Commission report? And they said, yeah, it's right here. And they went in a closet and pulled it out. I was like, okay, so what does it say about Building 7? He was like, what? What's Building 7? I was like, all right, I gotta go. I'll see you later.
Right.
It's like, all right. So you didn't. You said, all right, next. I mean, next.
Right.
So yeah, we don't gotta stay on that. We can leave that one for another time, or maybe not at all. But yeah, it's really interesting that nobody follows data.
Right. And let me just say this, because I'll be honest, I'm just as lazy as everyone else, but I'm not going to spew out some shit that I haven't read myself. And so, like a lot of us, I'm like, okay, let's be real for a minute. There's a lot more, way more intelligent people who are way more experts in certain things than I know I am. And this is why we have what you said earlier, trusted sources, right?
That's right.
Because it's like, I probably won't read the entire 9/11 Commission report, but there are people from, you know, New York Times and scientists and you know, all kind of people who are just like experts in this stuff. They'll read it and they'll put together, you know, small excerpts and be like, okay, they never mentioned Building 7, or they never mentioned the funding where this came from. That was told to be, you know, not important. And so my thing is like, I'm never saying, hey, you know, you have to do all that work, but at least give credit where credit is due to the people who actually do that. You know what I'm saying? And say, hey, I read this entire thing. And when you get a synopsis of experts coming from all different angles, all different parts of the world, all different separate agendas or no agenda at all, being like, this is why this is fucked up, because it's missing so many things. You know what I'm saying? Just to be like, oh I didn't read it, but the president or whoever said it's garbage and that's just it, and I'm not going to do any other work. It's like, nah. One, you're not doing your own work, and then the people who have done the work and who are saying that this is what it is, you're saying that they're lying, but you haven't did your own work.
Right.
So,
you didn't give them the time of day, nor did you take your own time to do shit.
Come on now. Right.
Come on, son.
Right. Come
Yeah,
on.
I feel you. And that's what this last year and a half has really put on the front lines for me. I can't tell you how many videos I've put up online, how many conversations I've had with people online, offline, and I am constantly saying you need to go to trusted sources for your information. Anyone can put out anything. I blog every week. I put out videos every week. What I say is not the Bible. What I say is not set in stone. What I say is not 24 karat gold. But I can say whatever the fuck I want on those videos and blogs.
Right.
Just like niggas could put sponsored content on your local news station and they'll do it for payola. You gotta go to trusted sources. And it's crazy because cats are just like, well, this person on Twitter said it, so I believe it. I'm like, well, who the fuck is that person on Twitter? Like you said, it's like, okay, but are they the leading scientists in their industry? Like, are they the fucking top? Who are they? Like, it was just Kim Kardashian. Like, who gives a fuck about what? All right, next. Like, crazy. Yeah. So, all of that from food. Gangster. My man Dre came to pod today. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
You wanna go into fasting because that was on our list.
Yeah. So
all right.
I mean,
you put me on the fasting, so I get you want me to lead?
You can go. You just I don't give a shit. Go ahead, go through.
All right. Well, once upon a time, not long ago, you put me on the fasting. I was struggling with fitness like I often do. Being consistent has been my struggle since, the beginning of time. And, you was on some like, yo, why don't you try this fasting shit? Because the gym and you are not getting along right now. And this might help you with some of your stored fat. And I was like, what the fuck is stored fat? He's like, all right, listen to this, listen to this, listen to this. Check out this shit from this scientist. He works for NASA. And also, here's this other super fly dude named Rich Roll. And they fuck with each other. And blah, blah, blah. You should try fasting. This is what I'm doing. And I was like, well, why would I starve myself? And although that was probably the most ignorant shit I could have said, you had scientific answers. It was awesome like, okay, this is why. I'm glad you asked. And if you listen to the people I just told you to listen to, they'll break it down from different perspectives. In fact, here's an interview that they did together, and you can see each of their very different perspectives. And I was like, all right, I hate you. I'll listen to all of it. Bye. And although I've been inconsistent, I still practice fasting, 5-6 years later? Which is gangster, because can you believe it's been 5-6 years later already? That conversation was like in 2016, I think. If I remember correctly, that was 2016. And here we are. Almost halfway through 2021.
Right.
Fasting. And by the way, I want to add that everyone, and I mean everyone, that I come across and have conversations with and go to dinner with and stuff like that, except for maybe 5 people, are like, well, why the fuck would you fast? Why would you do that? Why you be starving yourself? I mean, I know you're trying to lose weight, but you don't need to be that extreme. Why you gotta do that? All right. I don't tell you not to smoke cigarettes, though.
Right.
So, yeah. I give you the floor, brother.
Okay. Let me fall out here. But here it goes.
Like, nobody tell you to eat when you potty. You know what I'm saying?
It all depends on, like anything else, your reason for doing it, right? Like, why would you fast? For what? Now.
What is the why?
Yeah. What is the why? This is how you come to me.
Right. And this is how you come to me. Yes, but what is the reason? What is the why? Right. A little matrix for that.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Because you have the choice. Yeah, but choice is an illusion.
You know what I'm
between
saying?
people with power and
people
no
who don't have power.
Let cats look that up.
Right.
But anyway, it's like, yo,
the mirror
fasting. Yeah, my dude. But yeah, so it's like, well, fasting, like anything else, it's just a tool, right? It's not the holy grail. It's not the best thing ever, because nothing is the best thing ever. It is another tool. And so I told you about it because it's like, well, man, Dre, I can't get to the gym. I can't do this and that. But I'm noticing I'm gaining this weight. So it's like, well, if you're just in the house and you can't move for whatever reason, losing weight is very simple. Eat less, move more.
Right.
If you just do that, you will lose weight.
And they call that caloric deficit.
Right. They call it caloric deficit. Eat less, move more. It's no secret. People have been on that for years.
Right.
So the thing is, the less you eat and the more you move, the greater that caloric deficit is going to be. Okay? Now, no one is saying go crazy or go extreme, but crazy and extreme are relative words. These are relative expressions. Right. What is crazy for you may not be crazy for me.
Right.
You know, what is extreme for you may not be extreme for me.
Right. You ever seen Last King of Scotland?
Yes.
I love, it's a great film, which I was just rewatching on HBO Max. Mm-hmm. And, it's up there to like May 31st. I don't know, I'm weird. I like to check the what's going away section. They got a whole section.
Yeah, of course.
Last chance.
That gives it more value. Oh, shit.
Yeah. I love that shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, they got me. I'm not gonna lie. They get me a lot with that shit. I'm like, that's the new shit? Alright, but what's leaving though? And then I go and I'm like, Last King of Scotland is leaving? I didn't even know that was up here. So I went and watched it, and anyway, my man is like, you think I'm the devil, but that's only because you've never been in hell. I was like, talk to him! Talk to him! You know what I'm saying? Right. He's telling, what's his name? Forrest Whitaker's telling, I don't know the dude's name, but the dude who's like famous for playing Professor X now, and the Beast in the M. Night Shyamalan movie. You know what I'm saying? I don't know his name. I'm terrible at names.
You talking about Frasier, the Frasier dude? The dude who plays Frasier?
No. Dude who plays
Matt Damon? Are you talking about Matt Damon?
No.
Isn't Matt Damon? Not the Matt Damon guy?
No. Oh. The young guy who plays Professor X in the new X-Men movies.
Oh, yes. Right. I don't know his name either.
He's like this young, fresh out of school doctor in Last King of Scotland.
And he also played the dude, the schizophrenic dude.
That's what I said. Beast. His name is Beast. Beast.
Right.
I never know how to pronounce his name, so I always make fun of it. I always say.
No. He's dope though. He's dope. Yeah, he played a young professor.
Yeah, he's like this young, fresh out of school doctor, and just this horny young kid with his Scottish opinions and white opinions, and this guy's like the newly, not really, independently, appointed president of Uganda, and he's got all these fly views, and he's a wild dude, and he kind of befriends and then manipulates the young dude. And anyway, at one point, the young dude's just like looking at him like, you are a fucking monster. And Forrest Whitaker's like, yo, man, I know you think I'm the devil, but that's only because you've never been in hell.
Right.
It's like, yes, baby.
Right.
That shit.
Yeah. So it's all about perspective. It's all about, it's all relative. All that shit is these are relative expressions.
Right. And and that's what I tell cats. When cats are like, well, I don't understand. Why do you need to starve yourself? And I'm like, all right, cool. I get that you don't understand that. Can I tell you what I don't understand? I don't understand why you need to eat 7 meals a day. You know what I don't understand? I don't understand why you drink a whole 2-liter Pepsi every day. You know what I don't understand? Why do your kids eat McDonald's 4 days a week?
Right. Right.
It's like, but you see why you gotta attack me. I'm like, but you just called me a weirdo and accused me of throwing up in the bathroom because I'm trying to lose weight. And by the way, you weigh more than me.
Right. And so, yeah, that's all it is. It's like, well, okay, you're fasting. Here's a tool. Not the ultimate tool. It's just a tool. And what does it say? It says, all right, no one says start out and go right to level 60. It's just like, well, how many times in your life have you skipped breakfast? You've probably done it more times than you can think of. You don't even think of it, right? You're rushing, blah, 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 da, 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 da. You didn't have breakfast. Right. You know, you may not use the label fasting because maybe it wasn't deliberate, but you skipped breakfast. All right.
Yep.
You didn't. Well, what time you had your first meal? Man, I didn't eat till about 1, 2 o'clock. Right. So you basically did an 18-hour fast, or you basically did a 12-hour fast based on when was the last time you had lunch. So it's like people do this all the time, but it's just not deliberate. And so when you're fasting, you're saying to yourself, all right, I'm going to stop eating at a certain time, and I'm going to start eating at a certain time. That's it. And you kind of feel your body. Now, men and women are usually, a little bit different. I've noticed in my travels with the fasting. So for men, I realize it's easy for us to skip breakfast. Like it's just, you can, most men can just get up and start doing shit, and 2, 3, 4 hours go by. And you're like, man, I'm feeling hungry, cause you're doing something. Where women seem to need to have nutrients early in the morning. And that makes sense to me. Like women's bodies are made to like make babies and stuff. And so, if you have like another person inside you, having nutrients first thing, like makes sense. Men, I'm not talking about traditional roles. I'm not saying this is the way it has to be. Traditional roles. Yeah, men, have to get up and actually go get the fucking food, whether you had to chase the motherfucker down or, walk all the way down to something to get it. We usually have to put some kind of work in before we can eat something. So just as our body.
Historically
speaking, right, hunters and gatherers and shit. So it's like, for men, they can usually skip breakfast, but they have to eat something later in the day or they're going to go nuts. Where women can't skip breakfast usually. They need to eat something, but then they can stop eating at like 6 or 7 and they're fine, and these are just different things. You just try different things. And so throughout my travels, I realized, okay, I can tell a guy, hey, listen, when you wake up in the morning, don't have breakfast. Go as long as you can until you get really hungry. So it's like you skip breakfast. What time is, you have a job. What time is lunch? Oh, I usually eat lunch about 12, 1 o'clock. All right, well, just have lunch. That's all. Skip breakfast and just have lunch. We're not even talking about exercise. All I'm saying is skip breakfast, just have lunch. Don't have a snack, none of that shit. You can have a coffee if you want, just because you might need that caffeine in the morning just to, get the engine going. All right. And usually most men are like, man, that was easy. Like, that's all I did. And I lost a lot of weight, and I don't feel any different. I just lost weight because, a month went by, 2 months went by, and I just don't eat breakfast. With women, it's different. Like, oh yeah, I'll have breakfast. They'll have lunch, and they'll say, okay, after 7, I'm not eating. After 6 or 7, they cut off eating. It's easier for them. Okay, they did that. 7 o'clock comes, they haven't eaten, and they'll see sort of the same thing, a reduction in body fat because they cut off their time. And so that's all the beginning of fasting is. Now, once you get past that, and you say to yourself, because we all do it, you lose that initial weight, you like the way it looks, and what do human beings want? We have what we call an insatiable appetite. We're never fucking satisfied. You lost 10 pounds doing nothing, just eating less, and now it's like, man, but if I could just, I just want to lose this right here. That means you want to lose weight. You want to lose more weight. So if you want to lose more weight, we start to fast more. Can you do it? Of course you can. For some people, it's like, well, I'm going to skip breakfast. I'm going to skip lunch, and I'm going to only eat one time.
Right.
I'm not going to have a snack, none of that shit. I'll drink water throughout the day, 0-calorie stuff, but I'm not going to actually have food until later on.
Right.
Do I recommend anybody start out like that? No. I've done it. You've done it.
Yeah, that is how I started.
Yeah, but you're a weirdo. But it's like the one meal a day shit. I got into that. You know what I'm saying? I didn't just wake up and go, I'm going to have one meal a day. I did exactly what I'm telling you. Like, I skipped breakfast. Oh, that was easy. Let me see. Then I started playing the game of how long can I go till lunch, to my next meal. 12 o'clock came and gone. Hey, I'm not even really that hungry. 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock. Now it's getting closer to dinner time anyway. So it's like, oh shit. Well, I ate my food. It's 6, 7 o'clock, maybe 8. I ate enough food. I have a little window. I feel good. I'm actually tired. Take my ass to sleep. I'm losing a ton of weight on the one meal a day shit. Do you do that do you start out like that? No, absolutely not. Your body has to get used to that. But it is a tool one could use. Right. And that's all it is.
Right.
You know.
Nigga said you're a weirdo.
Yeah, you're a weirdo. You start out on the extreme. But I've known you for so many years. I've known you for so many years that I know I could throw the extreme out there and you just be like, fuck it, I'll start at the extreme.
I don't even think you told me. I remember asking you, like, you told me all this shit about fasting, and I was like, all right, so what you do? You was like, well, I've been fasting for a while, and right now, I'm on this one meal a day shit. I was like, did you just say one meal a day? You're like, yeah, OMAD, one meal a day. What does that even mean? You're like, well,
and it sounds more extreme than it is.
You're like, I basically eat for 1 hour a day. And I was like, oh. All right, fuck it, I'm gonna try it. And you was like, son, you wildin'.
Don't do that.
But yeah,
don't do that.
And I remember at that time, I was living with a woman. We were in a relationship, and she was just like, okay, listen, I know that's your man. You know, I know that's your guy, your mentor, your friend, but that shit sound kind of crazy. I was like, yeah, but I'm home anyway. Listen, if I feel like I'm gonna pass out, you could always throw me a cracker or some shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, you could throw me a little cookie or something. It's easy to whip up a PB&J if I feel like I'm about to eat.
Listen, it works. And you realize, oh shit, how much your body really doesn't need in terms of survival. And you don't need that many calories to just make it day by day. Mm-hmm. Here's the biggest example of this. Maybe people can look this up. Argentina, I believe. The president there. You remember Hugo Chavez? People probably don't know who fucking he is. So Hugo Chavez died. Mm-hmm. When he dies, the country is, I'm not Argentina, Venezuela. I'm fucking up. See, people going right in, know what the fuck you talking about. But no, so it's Venezuela, Hugo Chavez, he dies. And the person who takes over is Maduro, right? When he died, the country went into like major fucking inflation. Their money is almost like worthless. So people they can't get food. People are starving. And what happens? People have to get a little bit smarter. So you used to be eating right 3, 4, 5 times a day. Now this horrible shit is happening. People through necessity, just through survival, have to pretty much go down to almost eating one meal a day. And all of a sudden, people are losing a whole bunch of weight. There's this one dude who was like, I used to be fat, saying it in Spanish, gordo or whatever. Saying like, I used to be fat. Now look at me. And everyone started calling it, because the whole country is like getting leaner and leaner. Everyone started calling it the Maduro diet. If you wanna Google the Maduro diet, you will learn more about what I'm saying in terms of what happened in Venezuela.
I'm
not saying, I'm not saying Maduro was right or, I mean, it was political things. I'm just talking about what did the people have to do in order to survive. They had to say, all right, we can't eat the way we used to eat. If we get one meal, we're fucking lucky. And so they got very, very smart, started getting way less calories than they used to. And did they shrivel up and die? No, they didn't die of starvation. They still lived, but they became very, very lean, and their bodies got way more efficient with calories because there wasn't enough to go around. Just look at them, and that is like the best example as far as like an entire fucking country. This is not just one dude, two dudes, some crazy mofos that's doing weird shit. This is an entire country. This is not way back in the days in the 50s or nothing. This just fucking happened. So President Maduro, look up the Maduro diet, and you'll see what happens to these people. Now, some people actually did studies on this. Say, well, look, let's see what's going on with these people. Like, how are they surviving? How are they making it? They're suffering. I'm not saying that they're living great lives, but they're making it one day to the other. Muscles are still doing what they need to do. They're able to get up and go to work, but they have to just be incredibly selective with their calorie intake. So that's all. Now, I said all that shit. If you ask me right now, so Dre, how's fasting going for you? I would say to you, I don't fast. What?
No, I didn't even know that.
I don't fast. And it's not that there's anything wrong with it. It's not that there's anything wrong with it, but what am I doing now? My goal back then was different than my goal now. I spend a lot more time. You see my results, or you see my stats, doing a lot of strength training. I do crazy amounts of strength training right now.
Just lifting entire machines, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I'm on that shit. So
you on that shit. I pick things up and I put them down.
Putting them down.
I pick things up and I put them down.
Putting them down. So my muscles require a lot more protein and a lot more food coming in. Now I don't want to get fat, so you see, I do my cardio. I still watch what I eat. I don't eat a ton, so unlike a lot of professional bodybuilders who like 6-7 times a day, I don't do that. But I normally don't skip meals. Every now and then I will. It's not a big deal to me, but these are tools. I don't look at one as being better than the worst. It's like, what's your goal? What's your objective? Okay, well, you want to put on muscle? You want to get a little, because I hear people say that shit too, especially dudes. Guys are like, have you ever seen like skinny guys? Like, man, I want to, I'm looking at your body, Dre, like how I want to put on muscle. Okay, what are you eating? What kind of foods are you eating? We got to get into the diet. You have to regularly give your body protein so that they have something called protein synthesis, so your muscles can grow and get fed. That's the way that works, But when I was simply just on losing fat, like that was primo. I didn't give a fuck about nothing else. I feel like I'm fat. I feel like I'm fat. I fast.
Right.
And I got the results I wanted. Oh, okay. Right. What's next?
Yeah, and something you didn't say, which I've been waiting for you to say, is that one of the key things that I found out through research, through listening to Ray Cronite speak, through listening to Rich Roll speak, I watched this documentary on Amazon, and they speak about what happens when you fast.
Oh, that's
to me, one of the things that stood out is your body goes into what's called stored fat. When we eat, when we collect all of these things, when we consume all of these things, our body stores nutrients and fat. And it does it for survival. But our body doesn't know that we live in America where a fuck ton of us are obese. So it doesn't know that we're overeating. It's just doing what it's built to do. But when you fast, your body dips into that stored fat. It goes into the deep freezer and it's like, hey, what's this shit in the back? You mean this steak been here since 98? This steak gotta go. And that to me was one of the dopest things, because I remember Ray Cronite said on the Rich Roll podcast, he was like, I've been saying I'm fat for a long time, and until I did this research and started doing all this self-experimentation, I didn't realize some of this fat I've been carrying for 20 years. And I remember when I first heard that, I was like, why the fuck is he saying he's carrying fat for 20 years? He was like, I've been carrying this since I first got married. And I was like, what the fuck is he talking about? And then when they start getting into it, and when I start learning more, I'm like, oh, he never went into his stored fat.
Right.
His stored fat been chilling there. And it's absolutely right. If you've been overweight, I'll use myself as an example. You know, I've been overweight according to BMI and all that shit since I've been an adult. I've never been the 150 I'm supposed to weigh, allegedly. So I've been carrying, I'm 34 years old. If you want to count adult as 21, then I've been carrying weight around for many years. I've never gotten rid of it. It's just been walking around with me through relationships and kids and heartbreaks. It's just been right there with me the whole time like a good friend. But you got to get into that stored fat. And that's one of the things that I think is really interesting and important about fasting. And I'm not saying that it's the only way to do this. I'm just saying it is one of those tools, like you said, that will help you dip into that stored fat. And I see that even a lot of like workout videos. They'll be like, you want to know how to lose stubborn fat? And I'm like, yeah, they're talking about that stored fat. They're talking about that fat that's been walking around with you for 10, 20 years. And you got to get in that pocket. You got to get in that deep freezer. You know what I'm saying? You got to go in the walk-in and be like, all right, listen, what we can get rid of in here? Because a lot of this shit been in here for a long time. Like, you know, that T-shirt you had since college, you're 40 now. You can get rid of this T-shirt. You know, that's one of the things that fasting does. And I honestly thought you were going to lead with that. But since you didn't mention it, I wanted to throw that out.
I mean, and I can get into some other things, but just real quick, like, first of all, like, I heard, you mentioned BMI. And BMI is incredibly questionable and actually fucked up.
Yeah.
And that could be a whole different fucking podcast.
Yeah,
but it's like, your body mass index isn't necessarily like the best measurement to say, okay, you're overweight or whatever.
Yeah, that's why I said
yeah, but you know how you look. You look at yourself and you know how you feel. And if you feel like, man, like I'm carrying too much weight, you remember being lighter, you remember being, not as big, whatever. So it's like, okay, once again, this is a tool. The other great thing about fasting is this word called autophagy. And when you talk about, okay, we're going into these fat cells and we're using these fat cells, well, what autophagy is getting rid, your body's mechanism of getting rid of the old cells, right? Getting rid of them and putting new cells there. So basically taking out the old and rejuvenating it and turning it into like new cells, if you will.
Right.
And fasting helps your body in terms of autophagy, right? It's excellent for that. Yep. But it's not the only thing, because guess what else?
That's what I said. Yeah, that's what I said, yeah.
Guess what else gets your body to do autophagy? Exercise. Right. You see what I'm saying? Like if you exercise, you do some cardio, that also gets your body to get into this mode of autophagy, getting rid of old cells and replacing it with new. That's why a lot of times when you see people who work out, people say, man, you look so young. Wow, you look young. Right. Because their body is constantly in that state of like autophagy, getting rid of old cells, replacing it with new cells. And that happens when one exercises, but that also happens when one fasts. In fact, some Japanese scientists got a Nobel Prize on showing that fasting causes autophagy and how
I gotta look that up.
And how beneficial it was. Yeah, you can look that up. So I like to
I gotta look that up.
Little pieces out there. People,
No, listen, that's great, especially in the age of social media, because the proof is in the pudding, and if you can present that stuff, it's very helpful. I like to post stuff like that, and I think that it's important that we do.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying.
So, and that's that. I mean, that's all fasting is. It isn't supreme and it's a tool. And if you find yourself like you was at one point, like I was at one point, where it's like, man, I can't really get out of the house for whatever reason, but I'm noticing because I'm in the house, I'm gaining a lot of weight.
Right.
Fasting might be something you can do, or maybe you got sick, maybe you got, hit by a car, your leg. Because I remember with you one time, you had the whole thing with the bike, you had got hit, so you really couldn't exercise.
Right.
So it's like, well, if we know we can't exercise and we're gaining weight, then we have to reduce our calories. And so you can use the tool of fasting and be like, all right, I'm going to wake up in the morning, maybe I'll read, maybe I'll do some cleaning, I'll do some light stuff, but I'm not going to eat until this time. Yep. So that you don't have to gain all this weight while you're trying to heal.
Right.
So that's really all it is, just understanding that you have other tools at you. And then, we all came out of quarantine, what they call it, the COVID-25, right? We all came out of quarantine.
That's right.
25 more points, 25 pounds heavier, where, that's something that people could have used. Right. Who knows if this is hopefully this is the last quarantine we'll see, but you never know. And if something happens where you have to be in the house and you can't get out there and exercise, wait, won't you try fasting? Eat less.
Right.
Do other things, get yourself busy, and you won't maybe put on that, 25 pounds of just being in the fucking house all day.
Yeah. Absolutely right.
So, yeah.
All right. Well, this is a great long chat.
Yeah, that full segment went in deep this time.
And that's why I said I like the name, because it we could go where we wanted to go. You know what I'm saying? If this was the current events podcast, we couldn't talk about none of this shit. We'd be like, well, Biden, blah 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 blah, Kim Kardashian, blah blah blah, Kanye West, blah blah, Jay-Z, blah blah, AMC stocks, blah blah blah. Man, we ain't gotta do none of that shit if we don't feel like it. So, yeah.
Everybody likes food. I don't think everybody likes fitness. But everybody has a certain level of fitness.
Right.
And
absolutely.
Everybody likes some kind of fun. And that's all about it.
Everybody likes some kind of fun. You know what I'm saying? Everybody likes some kind of fun.